Hello, fellow grievers. Welcome to the Unapologetically Grieving podcast, where each episode acts as a collective grief diary and an entry to provide comfort and support to those who are grieving in whatever form it takes. Whether you're new to grief, you have a lifetime of it, this podcast is intended to share other people's stories with the hope that it provides solace in your grief journey. Welcome to the Unapologetically Grieving podcast. I am your host, Soraya, death midwife and grief guide, here guiding people through their grief, the many deaths of selves, death of leaving this physical plane, and all the in-betweens. Today, I have my dear friend, Auria. I am so grateful to have her here to talk about all the grief things and her wild, crazy stories of how she is now in Bali. She's joining us this morning as we're going into the evening here in Florida, and I'm just so grateful to have you. So welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here with you, chatting. Yeah,
Yeah.
sharing our stuff. Love it.
hmm So tell us about yourself, and then, we can dive in and let the show go.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, I'm Auria Faith, and I am on a life journey of uncovering more layers of myself and stepping into deeper authenticity, stepping into my authentic voice in all the ways that it wants to show up in my life. Like, just letting the parts of myself that usually want to hide be vomited out and just like it's like a daily life process that just keeps eating at me every single day, and I choose to opt in or out of the initiations, I guess, that that it offers me. And sometimes they feel gentle, sometimes they do not feel as gentle, sometimes, it's all the things. But yeah, I'm on a journey of authenticity, I think, as so many people I witness are. Which I don't know if that's like well, what is that? It's like a thing where like if you buy a yellow Jeep, then you start seeing yellow Jeeps everywhere. It's like whatever that that is. But I just, I see so many people also on this journey, and it's a challenging one in moments, but also one of the most fulfilling. So yeah, that's I think my deepest life journey is one of remembering my authentic voice.
Mm, that's really
That's
beautiful. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So when I put out there, I'm looking for people who want to talk about their grief immediately. You were like the second, I think you may have been the first. No, you were the second person that was like, yes, let's get on here. Let's do this. What
Yeah.
about your grief story made you want to share it with the world?
Um, I think the fact that I'm just in it right now. Like the reason why I said yes was because it was like so present for me right now, in probably the most profound way I have ever experienced grief in my life.
Mm,
So it's just very present, and the layers are present, and I'm moving through all the things, and I'm like, you know what? Like, being that I'm on a journey of authenticity and vulnerability, like, I think it's important to share where we're at when we're there, and
mm,
not like looking back on it later, because, once I have healed a little bit more through this, I'm going to be looking at it from a different perspective. So I'm going to be painting it with the lens of more healing, and therefore speaking about it differently, using different words. Like, I think when you speak about it when you're in that state, the way that you'll speak about it is different. And I just think it would be very like I just thought it would be very raw and real while I'm in the sauce, like in the midst of it, to be speaking about it in that moment, and also healing for me to talk through that while I'm in the process.
mhm. You get it. That's the whole purpose of this. to show up
Yeah.
raw and authentic and unapologetic and really, like, be in the depths of it while we're talking about it. So thank you for that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so take us back to, like, tell us, your first touch with grief of how it's been and then, like, what's changed inside of you. I know however far back you wanna take us.
Mhm. I mean, I think this week has illuminated a lot for me actually, which is why I'm very grateful that we're on the call this week because I had some big things come up with my family and some deep grief there, just a couple days ago. So I think I've been experiencing mental and emotional grief, like grief of not belonging or not feeling like I belong, like deaths of self, which I've had hundreds of thousands of those throughout my life. Um, like all these different forms of grieving of like moving on from one chapter to another and all the things that that brings up, one job to another, one partner to being single or single to having a partner, like all the transitions that we experience in life, even the small ones come with a certain amount of grief.
Mhm.
And I think my story was for so long that I desired to live from a space of non-attachment. So I told myself that if I was unattached in a way where I had like specific expectations about the way that life should go, that I didn't need to experience grief because I like, was disconnected from outcomes, like, it was just like, "Oh, I'm okay moving from one thing to another because I think that that's just how life goes, like, things come and go, I understand that, I feel very at peace with that, and, why would I experience grief if I understand that all these things happen, that changes happen, that everything's temporary? Like, why would I need to experience grief if I understand fully and am so at peace with the fact that that is a major part of life and it's going to happen every single day. So I, for most of my life, didn't feel any grief. Like even as a child, when like family members died or my dogs died or whatever, like I felt so strangely at peace about it and, like, never had any emotional reactions, like, at all, and my family actually was, like, concerned that I, like, was so okay with all of that, and I think there was a level of, like, genuine peace about that and about the fact that, like, human life is about impermanence, and, like, how okay can I be with that? So I think there was a genuine, like, wisdom in that, and, like, I'm so grateful for that part of myself that doesn't connect too much to outcomes. And and, like, in huge letters, and I think I was just completely avoiding the grief feelings, and that part.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So recently, it was, like, November, my favorite soul dog passed. And I knew that it was coming for months, like many months. And it's wild because she wasn't sick at all,
Mm,
like at the time when I felt that. So it was like June or July of last year, I started like feeling like it was coming. And it wasn't until November that she passed. So it was like July, 5 months of like being like bracing for it. And also, like, I remember one night in, like, July that, like, I couldn't sleep, and I was just, like, staring at her in the middle of the night, and I was just, like, watching this one, like, street light hit her face through the window, and I just start, like, bawling, and I'm like, "Why am I crying?" Like, "Oh my gosh." And I, like, laid on the bed and just, like, stared at her through the streaming light that was coming in the window, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna have you for that much longer." And I just started, like, having this, like, deep conversation with her and being like, "Hey, like, something's coming. Like, I can feel it. I know it." And I was like, "You know what? Like, whenever the time comes, like, make it really clear to me. Like, let me know what's going on so that I don't make you hold on in pain." And then, like, she, like, woke up and I saw in her eyes that she had been in so much pain for a while. And, like, I noticed it for the first time. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "What?" Like, "You've been in pain for a long time, actually." And I, like, haven't been noticing it, because I just had too much going on in my life. And then, like, literally from, like, that day forward, I was noticing it every day. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, her belly is so bloated. There's something going on in her belly." I was like, "There's like, she's not actually, like, doing well." I was just kind of, like, filtering my experience through what I wanted to see. And then I started seeing it really clearly. I was like, "Oh, actually, like, she's really actually not doing well." But I think I was, like, avoiding that and ignoring that. So, come the end of October, I, like, was having another conversation with her like that, that I was like, I'd watched a really quick, like, decline of her health in that time, but then at the same time, like, she still felt to me to be, like, 70% healthy for whatever reason. I think I just had some cognitive dissonances going on, I think. And I was trying to, like, fit her into this shape of healthy because I wanted her to be that. Like, I wanted to see her, like, still as a puppy and, like, still doing well. So I decided that, or I guess we both decided, like, let's go on a road trip and, like, up the East Coast, like, see all our friends and family who love her, like, because that was always our thing when she was younger, was, like, we went on road trips all across the country, like, to many different areas, like, she traveled with me, was literally my road dog for, like, 14 years. 14 years. That's a long time to have adventures and journeys with your best friend, and to always have that that specific form and that specific color and flavor of energy right next to you at all times. Like, I didn't leave her for more than 3 days for 14 years,
Mhm.
So, anyway, like, I just got this strong call, like, "We need to go right now, take her on a an adventure up the East Coast." We're gonna stop in Florida to visit some friends in Georgia, North Carolina, and then end with my parents' house in Pennsylvania, where I brought her up. Like, basically, like, we wanted to go to the I wanted to go to the house that I had raised her in, and my parents loved her so much that I got them a dog of the same breed for Christmas the year after I got Paisley,
Aw.
and they have the same dad, so they're technically sisters. But their dog is a year younger. So, they love each other, and, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna pick you up to see Lily and my parents," and then our last stop was going to be, I was gonna walk her, like, carry her up the mountain on the Appalachian Trail that I took her on the day that I got her. So the day that I got her 14 years ago, she was like a pound and a half and fit in my hands, and I hiked a portion of the Appalachian Trail and took her to the summit and held her up like Simba and, like, like, blessed her the day that I got her, like, at the top of a mountain and, like, sang to her and, like, oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. So I wanted to take her to the same mountain and do the same thing. Like, we start this journey going up the East Coast, we stop in all these different places, and I get from Florida to Georgia, and, all of a sudden, like, she starts whimpering and having like weird issues with her belly, like looking like it just swelled up like 2 or 3 times what it was. So I take her into this shop in Georgia and I see Jared's products from Katakina in the shop in Georgia. And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I'm talking to the girl and just connecting with her, and I'm, like, telling her I'm on this journey to, like, take my dog on this road trip. I don't know why I'm doing it because at the time, I still perceive her as being, like, perfectly healthy, and, like, I'm fully assuming I'm gonna bring her back to Florida with me, all the things, like so I'm talking to this girl, and she's like, "Do you wanna bring your dog in here so I can, like so I could be with her?" And so I brought Paisley into the shop, and the girl, like, was holding her, and she was like, "There's something really wrong with her." She's like, her belly, like, her stomach, there's something, like, really wrong with her, like, she's not feeling good." And and I was, like, shocked because I was like, my story is that I'm, like, avoiding this thing of, like, she's actually really sick, like, you know? So, anyway, she, like, is holding her and, um, like, sending her energy and stuff, and she's like, "You need to take her outside right now." And so I took Paisley outside, like, right after she was holding her, and she just released all this crazy stuff, like pooped and peed at the same time and, like, released this, like, crazy energy from her belly, and, like, it was so cool to have that random experience on the way up. Um, and, after that, like, went back to normal, like, what no symptoms, looking healthy, all the things to me. And then we're driving up the East Coast. And so I stop in North Carolina. We were staying at an Airbnb, me and a couple friends from Florida. And I like flip open this book called Pronoia and, like, just to one page. But pronoia is the idea that everything is working for you, and it's like the opposite of paranoia. So,
Mhm.
I flip open this one page of this book, and it says, "In 90 some hours" I still have a picture of this page because I took a picture of it. "In 90 some hours and so many minutes and so many seconds, you're going to receive the greatest love omen of your life." And I'm
Mm,
like, "Okay, great." Like, I just for fun, why not put an alarm in my phone of that time when that's coming up, right? So,
mhm.
we leave the Airbnb, we continue traveling from North Carolina to, Pennsylvania, and taking our time along the way, stopping at a bunch of beautiful sites, just spending time together. And then I get to my parents' house in Pennsylvania where I grew up, and I throw open the door to my car, and the alarm goes off, and Paisley hops into the grass and drops, like, just completely drops. And I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, "Oh my god, what?" Like, the alarm goes off, and she drops into the grass, and my parents come outside, and they're like, "What's going on?" Like, "We knew you were taking Paisley on this journey, but, like, we didn't know it was that bad." And I was like, "I didn't eat like, it wasn't," you know? And so she just drops into the grass of my childhood home under my favorite childhood tree that I used to swing on a tire swing on as a kid, and she just, like, laid there. And I was like, "Oh my gosh," she was waiting for me to take her back home, like, for a full cycle to complete. Like, wow, like, she was first guiding me to take her back there. Second, like, guiding me back to a place where I had a lot of unfinished grief and unfinished cycles for myself, with my parents and with my family. And she wanted to guide me back there in order to be with all of that. And, like, it was just so crazy, like, she's laying in the grass underneath my favorite childhood tree, like, I mean, I this thing is huge, and I was, like, so protective of that tree as a child, and, like, it was just so healing to me for so many years, and, like, to have that place be where she chose to drop, like, 1,700 miles from where I was living in Florida, and to have honored that call and, like, known that somehow subconsciously that that's what she wanted was, like, so crazy. And so we're there surrounded by my parents and her dog sister in the safest possible place that she could go. Like, how freaking beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. And wha I have so many questions, like, what what was going through your body? Like, what were the sensations, the feelings that was just happening when the alarm went off? When like, what did that with the passage in the book and with the alarm and that whole thing happening, what was going through your mind and your body at that time?
So there's another part that is totally crazy, is that the greatest love of my life that I've experienced so far, lives in Pennsylvania, and he had messaged me out of the blue after 6 years of living in Florida and saying that he needed to talk. And and he called me as I was packing to go to Pennsylvania to take Paisley on this trip. And I said, "Crazy enough, I am driving up to Pennsylvania right now. So, do you want me to come see you?" After 6 years of us not talking, not being friends on social media, like, not even having each other's numbers, he calls me out of the blue somehow and, like, says he's ready to talk. And so the story in my head was when the alarm went off that it was something to do with him. So I
Mm,
actually had totally different story going on in my head, like, because I didn't think it connected to Paisley at all in that moment. Like, I thought that it maybe had something to do with him, because remember, the story in my head is still that Paisley is super, like, perfectly healthy and everything's still good.
mhm,
So, like, I didn't even consider that it would have anything to do with her. And I was actually feeling super positive about it. I was like, "Ooh, I'm excited to see what this love omen thing is." Turns out it is totally different than I imagined. Turns out it is layers of familial grief and my best friend dying in my childhood home, like, totally different story than what I envisioned. So when it turned into being what it was, I was flipping shocked. Like, I was just like, what, my whole body was, like, in freeze mode, and, like, what the fuck is going, like, I cried so hard for, like, actually the first, like, 3 or 4 weeks after, like, following all of this, that, like, my face burned, like, but yeah, it's just it was unexpected, like, I thought the love omen was going to be very different.
mhm,
And also, I was taking it at face value. Like, I mean, I know that nothing is coincidence or whatever, but, like, in my head, like, I was trying to be like, "Oh, don't put too much weight onto this page of this book that you saw in North Carolina, like, just let everything do whatever it's gonna do." Because it's, again, that unattachment thing and that desire to not have a specific expectation of what I think something is going to turn out like, but when it turned out to be what it was, total shock.
mm,
I, like, made a circle, made, like, an altar of leaves and sticks from from the tree, and, like, she just laid inside the circle for, literally the whole day, and my parents came out and, made of our meals throughout the day, brought them outside. We all sat in the grass and sat on swings and just, like, spent time with her all day, and, like yeah, oh my gosh, it was so powerful, like, to witness that, like, to witness my parents, like, holding deep space for that, because that's one of my greatest, like, pieces of grieving and is this feeling of not belonging with my family, which I've experienced ever since I was maybe 3 years old, that I'm the black cat, black sheep, whatever, in the family, and that I just do not belong in spaces where my family is, and I don't feel safe there, I don't feel comfortable there, and here's my parents holding deep space for many, many hours, like a full day of just laying in the grass with my dog and,
Yeah.
doing everything as possible to, like, make us comfortable.
How did that feel? Because I don't know if you feel this way. I feel as though this trip was just as much for you as it was for Paisley. Paisley knew it. And I wonder her, being in the background of, this is gonna be cathartic for all of us, and to have almost that belief kind of dismantled of like, I don't belong, I don't this, I have grief around my family, and here they are showing up for you so unexpectedly. Like, how did that drudge up all the other grief as you're grieving the main event?
So that's exactly what it did, and something about Paisley and I's relationship for 14 years was that she was like a mirror of me. Like, everything that happened with her was something that I needed to learn for myself, and there was so many profound things that would take me many, many hours to share, but I knew when we were on this journey that she was leading me towards something and I was just allowing it to happen, like, just following that call, and I didn't realize that that's what she was leading me to at first, until we got there, and as soon as she dropped in the grass, it's like it smacked me in the face. It's like, "Oh, you were bringing me here to experience all the other forms of grief that I never felt in my life before this."
Mhm.
And I realized that, like, almost instantly the second the alarm goes off, she drops in the grass, like, it was, like, all everything just, like, hit me at once, because I experienced so much grief and so much trauma at that in that location, and you're leading me there to be with that,
Mhm.
like, to the place where my deepest levels of grief in all the other areas originated, and, like, to the city where itself, where I haven't been in 6 years, where I have a lot of unresolved grief from many, many things in that area. Like, you're leading me right there in order to experience my grief with you as well. Like, everything's culminating all at once in the same space and the same time, and, like, I basically figured that out instantly the second that, everything started unfolding, and I
Mhm.
was just like, yeah, yeah, mind blown.
Yeah.
But
And,
be
having Paisley for so long, 14 years is a long time. That's 14 years of the same routine. Like you said, you maybe 3 days without her every here and
maybe.
every now and
Mhm.
what's coming up is that sense of safety and her being there through all that's 14 years of so much stuff, like the prime time of your life. Did that the safety component come up of, like, here's this creature that has kept, some sort of safety in my life, and now she's, you know, leaving.
So Thank you for asking that question because this is actually the primary component. So we're getting to like the super juice of the story. When I got Paisley, I got her after a very traumatic experience in my life. Probably one of the most traumatic ever. Deeply troubling time of my life, which again would take a long time to explain. But I had just experienced very challenging things in my life. And I woke up the day after like a major trauma and I realized that instead of killing myself, honestly, to leave that space, instead of ending my life, to leave this space of, like, misery, I needed a best impartial friend to hold space for this. And I went to my job at a local bar, and I saw the classified ads on, the bar top, and I closed my eyes and put my finger down on a number and told the bartender, who was also my roommate at the time, coincidentally, "Can you look at this number and would you be okay with having whatever type of animal this is? Just don't show me." And she was like, "Yeah, let's go." And I was like, "What? Okay. Guess I'm getting a dog, like a best friend." So, like, we roll out to get to look at this animal. I have no idea what type of animal I'm even getting, but apparently my roommate approves. And we, like, walk in the door, and there's, like, all these Dobermans inside the door. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, did I sign up for a Doberman? I don't want that."
Take it back.
Like, "Damn it, no." But okay, I'll accept her. Um, and then the guy sees my face because she had told the guy that I didn't know what kind of dog we were getting, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, it's not a Doberman." I was like, "Oh my god, thank you." He's like, "I breed Dobermans, but my daughter's dog accidentally got pregnant, so we had this litter over here, and that's them." And we had decided if one looked like a panda, that that was the one that I was gonna get. Paisley looked like a panda.
She
So,
did.
she did like panda, I know, so funny. And me not having any idea what breed we were going to find, like, saying that I wanted one that looked like a panda is so freaking specific. Because most dogs do not look like that. Anyway, so, so really from the first day that I got her, she was representing safety from the masculine to me. Because I
Mm,
always felt like I was my entire life, like I was a victim to the masculine. And
mhm.
I needed a best feminine friend, impartial as fuck, quiet as fuck, who wouldn't like impact my decisions about life, to hold space for me and to save me from the masculine. At the time that I got her, that very clearly and distinctly my intention for getting her, was to feel safe. And during the whole time that I had her in those 14 years, she protected me from the masculine hundreds of times. She fulfilled that role that I had given her and that assignment that I had assigned her to. And then come July of this past year, when I started grieving her, I realized that I was finally feeling safe with the masculine within and without, and that I did not need her to protect me from that anymore. And that is the exact moment I realized she was dying.
Whoo! I'm covered in chills.
Dude, same.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was the exact minute that I realized in that night when the light was streaming onto her face, I realized that my unsafety with the masculine was dying and that in order to let that go fully, I would also need to be willing to let her go.
Mm.
Because I no longer needed her there to protect me. So how profound of a journey, all of that part. And then she leads me to my childhood home where I need to repair my relationship with one of the most profound masculine characters in my life, my dad. And
Mhm.
she leads me directly to his doorstep. So all the grief and all of that, like testing, are you truly deciding that the masculine is no longer out to get you? Like, are you truly going to live in that space of safety without me? And
Yeah.
what a profound journey.
That whew, that is so beautiful and so just, what the fuck? All in the same
Girl,
hand.
I know. I know.
So, since her passing, have you felt any feelings of unsafety? Like, has that grief, has that safety wound actually gotten to a point where you're like, "Okay, I am good and, things are okay."
This is really interesting too. That as soon as I realized I was letting her go, I realized I could now travel wherever I wanted to go because I'm no longer a caretaker. And, for the past 14 years, I've been a mom and a caretaker, and I haven't had the capacity to travel more than like a couple days because we were very emotionally bonded. And
Mm,
I mean, and rightly so, I think, because we've been with each other through this whole journey of reclaiming safety from like between us and the masculine, like it's deep. It's not just like, oh, hey, this little fluffy thing is on my side. It's like, no, there's like thousands of layers more than that in there. Um, so like I decided to move to Bali and put myself in this space of like complete discomfort and complete unknown, essentially to test myself. Like in many ways to test myself and see where I'm actually at with that. Like, have I cultivated enough of a space of inner safety within that I can carry that with me regardless of the unknowns in my environment? And I feel that's been largely true, and where it has not, I relate with it differently, if that
mm,
makes sense. Like, the way that I relate with the feelings of unsafety when they come up is different. So I think I have that baseline feeling of safety, and when I feel a temporary emotion of unsafety come in, the way that I relate with it feels different. Like the way that I respond feels very different. Like perfect example why I mentioned that this week was a good week to talk because I had some family things come up.
mhm.
So um my dad I mean, who's a beautiful man who has the best of intentions, I'd like to preface that. Um, there was something said that felt very unsafe to me. And previously in my life, I would have just not said anything and just disappeared, like ghosted. Or I would have maybe gotten angry and reacted. I especially did that a lot in my late teens and early 20s with my dad specifically. Like when I was feeling unsafe, I would just like freaking I'm an Aries on Aries on Aries on Aries. So I would just like rah! um and like, when I felt a feeling of unsafety come up in my body, instead of running and just ghosting for weeks or months, which is actually what I have been doing the past couple years largely with him, specifically. um, is I told him that I was feeling unsafe.
Mm.
I told him exactly what it was that was making me like, the reason why I was feeling unsafe, like, explained all the things about it, and then full send. And his response was nothing but absolutely loving and respectful and holding space for that. And I was like, "Okay, hold on a second. I've never experienced this dynamic with him before." Where it's like, first, I'm sharing why I feel unsafe, or that I feel unsafe in general, why I feel unsafe. Second, he's responding only lovingly, not defensively at all, and looking to basically get into problem solving mode. So like now that I hear you're experiencing that, how do we find a way forward? And I'm like, wow. So the whole thing with Paisley has really shifted our dynamics as well. Like me going back there, when I went back there in November and this whole thing happened, and my parents actually walked through the grief portal with me. Like my dad went to the we had to take her to get the shot ultimately because she had been laying in that same spot for a whole day, and we thought she was gonna keep holding on and just being in suffering. So we ultimately had to take her, to, like, make that decision for ourselves, and I knew I would have to be the one to make the decision that she would not do it, because that was part of the initiation for me. So I
Mhm.
knew that I would have to be the one to make that decision. And it was at 5:55 PM on the dot, 5:55, crazy enough, and my dad was there and all this stuff. So, he had been walking through that grief portal with me, and it's wild because, my whole life, or the majority of my life, I spent in a space of unsafety with my family and not feeling like I belonged. Like, not specifically because of anything they did or that I did, but just because we speak totally different languages in life, and it's very challenging to understand each other. And I get that now. So as soon as I came to Bali, it basically unlocked a different dynamic of safety and of also grieving with my
Mm.
like, I'm just grieving all these past versions of myself who did not feel safety with the masculine, and that's literally what this entire like, to encapsulate the entire journey. I spent my entire life since I was maybe 3 years old feeling a sense of unsafety with the masculine. That's what Paisley represented, that's what my family represents, that's what so many of my relationships and so many things in my life represented, and now I'm grieving the ending of that. So I'm grieving something that I don't even want. Like, I'm grieving the ending of this feeling of unsafety with the masculine, not because I wanted it to stay longer, but
Mhm.
because I'm just so familiar with it and it has become one of my best friends. Like sometimes we grieve things in life that we claim we don't want in our life. And it's okay to grieve even things like this. That is like, I'm feeling sad that I no longer feel unsafe with the masculine. Why is that? Just because I was so familiar with that feeling and it felt like so present for all of my life. So that's the biggest piece I think right now that I'm experiencing is I'm grieving the loss of cycles that I claimed I didn't even want or like in my life.
Mhm. That so to me, it's, grief really shaped well, I wouldn't even say shaped, but it affected some of your closest relationships with your family and, going through that whole cycle and then coming back full circle of being one way for so many years to have it bloom into something that's just like, "Wait a minute." And that's jolting too of, like, thinking it's gonna be
Right.
one way, completely not. And now you're grieving this. And it's like, wait, I was this way this whole time. And now I got to grieve this. And that's the complexity of grief and the
Right.
layers and layers. This one single event is like just like plucking these little rose petals and like I'm not even going to say peeling back an onion because it's just this like unraveling of all these petals that are just slowly
Mhm.
falling. And when you were talking
Yeah.
about in the beginning about, your life's mission and finding your voice and like really expressing your voice, how does that compare or like tie into when you had to be the voice for Paisley of like, you're not going to do this. You're not going out on your own terms. And now I am using my voice and using your voice with your dad. How does all of that like play into this grief bubble?
Oh my gosh, it totally does. The reason why Dream Voice Dream Life, which is my business, I hate calling it that because it's not that.
Yeah.
But my life mission is Dream Voice Dream Life. Like activate your dream voice and set your dream life into motion. Like I say it as a mantra in my head all the time. Like it's like there's so many elements of that I focus on every single day. And this whole thing really made me need to get super, super real with myself about where I am not using my voice.
Mm,
Like, I recognize that as a person who is making our life mission a certain thing, we will need to be the greatest initiators of that. Like, it's fucking true. It's true. That, like, when you are focusing on something as your greatest life mission and also you may be holding other people in that space, you will be the greatest initiator of that thing. And I've recognized this for the past, like, 5 or 6 years that I've been doing this work, and it's continued to be true again and again and again that I need to be a living, breathing, embodied example of the work that I am doing in order to be able to hold space for anybody else through that on the deepest levels. On the deepest levels. So I recognize that everything that happens in my life relates to that. So this specifically, like needing to be the voice for the voiceless, needing to
mm,
be the voice for the past versions of myself who didn't feel safe, who didn't know how to express themselves mostly, like, is really initiating me into a new space. And I realized, I wrote this down the other day, that I have been very good at the dream voice part, but
mm.
the dream life, like the living it in everyday examples, I have space for that. I have space to learn way more there.
Wow.
So that's been initiating for me. I was up in the middle of the night being like, okay, what now? Because I had basically been in this space of like like pulling the rose petals, unveiling new layers since November, and I have been in a space of like stall or like freeze essentially since then. And
Mm,
now I'm like I feel like I'm rebuilding everything about the ways that I show up. And now it's like, okay, how can I take all these dreams about my voice and actualize and embody them into my dream life actually? So that's what this brought up to me on a deeper level than it has before. Like I've known that like, this is my motto, so I need to like live up to this. But this is the deepest level that it's ever initiated me into is like getting into the nitty-gritty, the tiniest little areas of my life and the biggest areas where I am not living and embodying my dream life
mm.
through using my dream voice, like my actual truth, my actual authenticity.
Yeah, and through that, like, through the grief bubble, that's being birthed on a deeper level. And so it's like, in what ways have you faced and moved through your grief in those moments of freeze? Like, where you're just like, "Oh,
Mm.
shit." Like
Honestly, it comes down to really simple things. It's very simple. And I'm still
love
finding ways.
simple.
Yeah, like, um, I'm still finding ways, and honestly, I'm still in the softs. Like, I moved into and committed to a more permanent home residence here in Bali. I moved into this beautiful artist house that's full of instruments and full of art and surrounded by rice fields and nature. And, I have a stray cat that apparently already thinks she lives here. So, like, and I just moved in yesterday and I spent the entire day lying on the couch crying
Mm.
because I was processing just so many layers of things, and I still am. Um, and I feel like since November, I've been in the majority of freeze state, where I will be laying somewhere like on the couch or in a bed, literally staring absentmindedly at my phone for 6 to 8 hours. And I can't get off of it and, like, figure out how to come back to myself and, like, how to do anything. At the moments when I have broken through that, I've been doing very simple voice tools, like utilizing my tool belt of all these hundreds of voice tools that I have, actually finding moments where in the moment that the thing is happening, in the moment where I'm experiencing extreme freeze and grief and discomfort and dis-ease and all the things, like calling upon one tiny voice tool, humming.
Mhm. Yay, vagus nerve stimulation.
Yay! Okay, lifesaver. So, literally just, okay, I'm in this space where I literally have not moved from the couch for 6 hours, and I don't even know a single thing that I did in those 6 hours. I cannot tell you a single thing that I, like, looked at or what I learned, or I'm literally just, like, dead, like Walking Dead. This is the first time in my life when I've really felt like that's been a consistent, um, way of processing grief. Like, I'm, like, in it because all the layers have come up, and now it's, "Okay, what do I do?" When all the layers of grief are, like, sitting right here. Like, what tools do I have? And in moments, the only thing I can think about is just freaking humming, and just literally take 3 long hum breaths, letting it play out however long it wants to play out. And then whenever I get on the other side of that, even if it's just a little bit, there's a clarity that comes that allows me to move forward and complete whatever it is that I wanted to complete. And maybe from there, I move to a more, bigger practice, like, grabbing an instrument and just, like, singing out whatever words and whatever sounds and whatever songs need to come out and moving my body with that.
Mm,
And there's been a couple times where I've gotten to that point that I could have the capacity to call upon that tool, but for the most part, the grief's felt pretty, all-encompassing. It's been a lot that I've wondered if I even have a tool that's powerful enough to break through that.
mhm. Yeah. And then everything that you just described is how we're meant to be with our grief. I'm guilty of it too. doom scrolling on my phone and it's like, okay, what am I avoiding? Like, what am I not wanting to feel? And what can I get out of my toolbox? Because yes, I guide people through movement. I don't always wanna fucking move. Like, I don't wanna always move. I just
Mhm.
so little tiny things of what can I do right now in this moment that's actually gonna help me snap out of it just a little bit so I'm not, wasting my day away. And what
Mhm.
grief needs is a physical outlet. Humming,
Yeah,
dancing. drumming, music, instruments, something tangible, throwing putty at the wall. If you want to throw peanut butter at the wall, like whatever we have to do, it has to just needs a physical outlet. And then you can, physically clean it up later. I don't know, but
Yeah. Well, because grief is an emotion.
correct.
Motion. So, like, emotions desire to move. When they are allowed to be stagnant, that's when we have dis-ease. That's when we have like disembodiment. That's when we have all those things. So, and like I recognize that on an intellectual level, because I guide other people through that process. And now it's like, okay, how can I do that for myself? How can I find where the motion is desiring to be created in the moment that it's happening and actually find the capacity to move it? So, the biggest thing that I've been realizing recently, this I think is going to be really helpful for me in this next chapter where I just grounded into this home. My intention while being here for the next 3 months is to utilize all of these things that are coming up and all this energy to record 6 songs, to self record 6 songs while I'm here in this space and to work on my online course for vocal activation and vocal embodiment through moving all these things through my body while they're happening.
Mm.
So, the biggest tool that I'm planning on using, which this is all in concept right now because I just moved in here, is leaving as many breadcrumbs for myself as possible, making it super, 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 super easy to do the thing. So if I want to wake up first thing in the morning and spend time, like hop straight into my vocalizing practice and like humming or something, just for example, if I wanted to do this, leaving notes for myself the night before on the desk, leaving everything out and available and open for me and being like, okay, future Aria tomorrow. Number 1 is what you wanna do first. Number 2 is what you wanna do second. Number 3 is what you wanna do third. Leaving all the tools out and available and ready, maybe even leaving my clothes that I plan to wear the next day out, leaving myself as many breadcrumbs as possible to facilitate ease and to call upon those tools when they come up. So this is
Mm.
my plan intellectually, and I know that this has worked in other chapters before. However, I am in a much deeper grief portal space than I have ever been before. So will the same tools work? I don't know yet.
Science. Yay, experimentation.
Yeah, exactly.
And so even going through all of this, being grounded in a space, being, there for the next 3 months and really being able to settle in, and you're actively grieving. Within all of that, have you felt, just even like a little bit of relief with everything?
Yeah, interesting question. I think largely there has not been moments where I have not been experiencing grief because I added layers onto it. Because I added the layers of leaving my comfortable AF businesses in St. Pete, my comfortable AF environments, a huge support community of friends. Like, I I added more layers, like additional layers to all the things I was already grieving so that there's more layers to process. So I'm allowing myself to take time with it. Like I've been here in Bali already almost 3 months and I still feel like almost every single day I've been hazing through it. Like, I mean, there has been moments where I have felt the clarity returning and the energy returning, and it's mostly in moments when I'm able to creatively express, because creativity is my primary outlet for moving emotion, and
Mhm.
so I spend time painting every single day for like I challenge myself to do that for like 3 weeks. And in those moments, I felt, like I didn't feel the grief actively. I just felt inspiration. And the
Mhm.
same in like I have spent some time writing music. I have spent some time like intellectualizing my course and like creating that. And I have spent some time creating a music video for my song When Old Things Fall. And
Ooh!
yeah, and it's actually already online. But yeah, like I met a beautiful videographer here in Bali and asked him to do a private project with me for my song, which is about all of this. So the lyrics of the song just simply go, when old things fall and new things call, how can I be with it all?
Mm.
And it's just a mantra repetition of that. So, when old things fall and new things call, how can I be with it all? And that's just representative of this whole journey of grieving things, like stepping into new things. When the old things are falling away, how can I be with that? How can I actually feel that and allow myself to be in it? And when the new things call, how can I be with that too?
Mhm.
Like, how can I allow both parts to be present, like the falling of the old and step into the new? And I've been struggling with the stepping into the well, both parts, I guess, you
Mhm.
know, mostly the stepping into the new because there's so much newness calling. I can feel the energy and the expansiveness of all the things that are possible and like all the newness that this release of these old traumas and this old grief will offer. And it's a new, beautiful, stunning, and just a stunning life is like directly on the other side of my capacity to be with the things that I'm letting go of.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
It it's one hell of a journey to step into this new identity that we when grief knocks on our door, we did not ask for this new identity, and then it's just, like, sitting here like, "What do I do with this? What
what to
do?"
do?
It's a complete mind fuck because we're like, "Okay, now we are this whole new person, and all the other things are literally, like, sloughing off like an old wound, like,
Mhm.
like, just falling apart, and, I commend you in all of this and still being in the grief and just it's not easy, but allowing yourself to go through the motions and revert back to your tool belt and just really be with it because a lot of people run from it like Forrest, and they do not turn around, just Forrest Gump booking it away far,
Yep.
far away from it, and so that's why I love having conversations like this with people like you who do get it of, we there are gonna be moments where we, like, kind of ignore it, and we come back to, like, how is this gonna be the catalyst for this big growth expansion in my life? Because that's exactly what it is. If
Yeah.
people see that the grief is literally a heart cracking open in a whole new level of how we relate to life, then that is my mission. It's like we open people's eyes to this.
Right. Because what I'm grieving is okay, I can lay this out very distinctly now at this point. What I'm grieving is the role of victim and the
Mm,
role of somebody who holds myself back and the role of mother and caretaker and putting other things first before me and not, like, caring for my own needs and my own body, like, I'm grieving all of these things that can't go with me where I'm going. Like, the biggest thing too is that I'm grieving the role of healing. like,
Mm.
healing myself, like, constantly being in 24/7 healing process. I'm grieving that I don't actually have to be doing that anymore. That sucks. That's so hard because when you make healing your primary identity, "Oh, I'm healing from this. Oh, I'm healing from that. Oh, I'm healing from this. Oh, I'm healing from that." And you do that 24/7. For me, it's been 15 years of being on a spiritual journey, of, like, rewiring things. I've done all the practices, every single modality you could even possibly consider in the past 15 years, and I'm fucking tired. I'm done with making healing my full-time identity because you know what that also tells me is that I am making being victim my full-time identity. Because if I am constantly focusing on all the ways that I was hurt and that I'm not whole and that I'm not healed, then I am living in victim inherently.
Mhm. It's that
So
just repetitive that just keeps going over and over and over again.
on repeat, all the way, all the things, and you know what? Like, I've done that. I've come into this life, I have focused on that full time for 15 years, then maybe I get to be done with making that my full-time fucking job.
Yeah, I'm rooting for that because this shit's getting old. We're
It's
tired.
getting It's like, I understand that part of the human experience. I understand suffering. I understand learning through the most challenging fucking experiences in life. I understand that. I have lived that part of the human experience. Now, can I experience another way of existing and experiencing life? Because, like, I think our thing here being humans is how many parts of the human experience can I have? Right? And when we understand something and we live in it for so long, it's like, okay, I've spent 36 years living and suffering full time and having that human experience. I'm so tired of that being the identity that I experience. What else is there to explore? Is
Mhm,
there another part of the human experience that I can make my primary identity instead of the one of healing? Because ever since I was 3 years old, literally, that has been my primary goal in life is to be in the role of victim and healing. And I
that's huge.
understand that and I have so much understanding of that, so much compassion for that. I've seen it from so many thousands of different angles. I think I understand suffering. For the most part, and there are other ways to understand suffering, and I understand that that's part of the human experience, and that I may continue to have things in my life that bring that up on deeper levels, and I'm open to whatever wants to come to me in life, and that's been my primary experience,
Mhm,
is that so now, like, can I make it less of my primary experience and experience something else as my primary way of being because I want, as a human being, to experience other ways of living in this plane. Like, maybe I don't have to experience suffering as my primary source of human experience and understanding. Maybe it can be less primary.
yeah, and that's the beauty of grief too, is that joy and happiness and pleasure can coexist with that. It absolutely can, and
Mhm.
it's getting to the sauce of that. Like, the world is squeezing us right now, and all this juice is coming out, but where's the lemonade? Like, when do we get to have fun?
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
I've been squeezed so much, in my life, like, to the freaking max, and and I honor all of that. I'm grateful for all of that. I would never change a single freaking thing about my life ever. All of that,
Mhm,
so juicy. Understand why it needed to happen. Like, I'm so appreciative for the suffering. I'm so appreciative for the grief. I'm so grateful for all the things that I've endured and experienced in my life. And can I explore another primary way of being that's not the same as I just did? Like, the wouldn't change
Mhm.
it, don't think it's bad, whatever. And also, can I explore ano just another option? And what might that look like?
Yeah. Yeah, and it is possible, and I'm excited to see what it's going to look like when that happens, so we're gonna keep in touch on that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so if you could sit beside yourself during the hardest, most, like, at peak moment of your grief, what would you wanna say?
Mm, good question. Probably nothing. Like, I would probably just wanna sit with myself.
Mhm,
Quite honestly, because, like, my work is the voice, and sometimes I think that we can say so much, and sometimes I think it's just being a presence
mhm.
says more than any words could do.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Why is it important for you to have conversations like this?
I think there's so many different reasons that it's important. I think first, like the vibration of the voice, vibrating things through and out of the body is something that helps to, as I'm speaking about this, I'm literally vibrating energy out of my body through my voice, and that's doing healing in and of itself, like being a human tuning fork for myself. So on the most like fundamental of levels, like that for me is healing.
Mhm.
Um and then also like, being able to share with somebody who also understands grief or is on a grief journey and process. And then also the opportunity for this to reach other people who might be in a grief state or might also feel inspired by any part of the journey of what we're speaking on. So
Yeah,
lots of different things.
thank you. And if you
Mm.
could give any piece of advice, wisdom to people listening about grief or, just anything in this realm of everything that we talked about, what would it be?
Finding ways to be at peace with whatever is present. How can I find peace in whatever process, whatever part of the journey that I'm in? Um, and that might look different to everybody, but what does that look like for you? And really being with that, if we can, call upon that tool of asking ourselves that question in the moment.
Thank you for that. And
Mhm.
I'm really grateful to have this conversation, and I know I shed some tears because Paisley, even though she wasn't in my daily life, she was such an incredible pup, and I just yeah. I remember the first time I met her at Roots to Crown, and I was like, "Who is this little fluff ball? Like, who do you belong to?" And then, all the betweens of my whatever the fuck I was going through, and having her play with the dogs, and her meet Kane and Noli, and just all those little bittersweet moments, and yeah, I'm grateful to have gotten to meet her and know her, and just be in some piece of this journey with you guys.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah, and I think that's why this is such a sweet little call is because, like, you actually knew her, and I actually knew Kane and Noli and got to, like, spend time with them, and they were amazing beauties. And, like, yeah, I even told my parents about them after I first met them. I was like, "This is Kane and this is Noli, and they're just super cute, and look at them laying on the couch with Paisley." I, like, sent them videos and pictures. Yeah, so that's why I think
Oh,
it's super cute is that we also have the opportunity to have witnessed each other, the primary things that we're experiencing grief about right now, like, actually having been in those spaces where, like, I've met them, understand, like, I understand the beauties of your relationship.
thank you so much for tuning in. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. So please leave a comment and let me know which part spoke to your heart. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need it. Your support helps these conversations reach more people navigating grief, and it's really appreciated.